Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our first webinar of the 2024-25 season with Orange Audubon Society. I'm Kathy Rigling, the Education Coordinator, and tonight I'm going to talk to you about a curriculum that's available free from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology K-12 education program, and it is called Exploring Nature with Our Feathered Friends. So Orange Audubon, our mission is to promote public understanding of and interest in wildlife and the environment that supports it. And the Cornell Lab of Ornithology's mission is to interpret and conserve the Earth's biological diversity through research, education, citizen science focused on birds. An offshoot of that is the K-12 mission, which they create innovative resources and training that build science skills while inspiring young people to connect to their local habitats, explore biodiversity, engage in community science projects. The K-12 program, which is available online, has a lot of resources, and I encourage you to check it out later. And there is educator training both in person and online. So their premise is to first engage students, have them explore the topic, and that will lead to inquiry, which is the highest level of academic pursuit for the sciences. So why do we use birds to get students engaged? You might think, go outside, where's birds? There's no birds here. But once you start paying attention, you're going to see that birds are everywhere. So pretty much any campus you go outside, you're going to find some birds. So you just have to look. And once you get your students looking, they'll be finding birds all over the place. All right, so this is the Feather Friends curriculum, which I will show you how to download it. And it is not only sponsored by the Cornell K-12 Education, but it's also sponsored by Pennington, which is a producer of birdseed and also feeders and things like that. So this is the structure of the program. You have from September to June, but you can use these in any order that you want. Once you download it, you'll have the whole year. So, if you are wanting to teach about what and how birds eat, you can skip on to January and do that. But the lessons do make sense in the order that they are, because the first one, what makes a bird, just introduces what are birds. And it goes from there. Habitats, behavior, citizen science, which is now called participatory science, migration, how you can help, and even nesting. So I'm going to go through the different kinds of monthly activities you'll see when you download this, and it's very user friendly. It's very easy just to take pieces out and use it where it fits in with what you're teaching. So let's take a look. And this is all tied to national science standards. So this is also included when you download this, so you can justify what you're doing as it matches with standards you have to teach anyways. So each month we'll have a big idea and learning objective. And I did put, because I kind of took bits and pieces from different months so you could see a variety. This one came from the January, which is about what birds eat and how they eat. And it just shows you, students will be able to name at least 3 foods that birds eat and name 3 ways that they're adapted for survival, which goes into your adaptations standards. What I really love, every month you have a different literacy connection. These are all really high quality books. I use a lot of these as my role as educator. They're very high interest books and rooted in standards. So this, for example, is November's one, which has to do with habitats. Because this is from Cornell, each month there's a common feeder yard bird featured, just to give some little knowledge to the children so they can start being aware of what's around them. Like in January, the mourning dove, which is a very common bird, is featured and gives you a little information about it. Each month includes ways to engage your students to the topic. So this came from November, which is about habitats, which is a very important standard, and gives you different ways to like talk about habitats to get your students really excited about the topic. And then they have an explore section. So this would give you ways to get your students just exploring the topic, like going on the schoolyard, drawing the different components of habitat they see at your schoolyard. And this shows you here of what a sample, what a student might come up with, or a group of students. They work together and they're going to draw pictures of food that they find that birds could eat, and cover and water, and where the space would be. But then they also listed some other needs of the birds. And that gets them really connecting to their local habitat for seeing, what is a habitat, and it might lead to them wanting to improve the habitat at your school, which is a topic of another webinar we're going to do later in the year. Each month includes ways to extend the learning. So March is all about flight, and they have a great feather investigation that just real simple, something you could do. It could even be a center. It just gives you some really easy to apply ideas. And every month has a home connection, something you could send home digitally or printed. So this one came from October, about learning to identify common birds in your area. And so this you could send home, and the students could go with their parents and look outside and identify different kinds of birds that they see, whether it's owls or ducks and things like that. And it also provides them information, like for example, about the Merlin app that they could use to help identify what they're seeing. Each month has some cool facts. So this was about migration. It just tells you like some interesting things about migration as something, like a little starter for the day. And hands-on activities are also included, which you could use in the classroom or you could send home. So for January, about birds, what birds eat and how they eat, they could make their own feeder using just materials that would have gotten recycled. So here's where you're going to find this information. Here's the website for Cornell K-12 education, and you'll see this as your homepage, and there's a lot to explore, and this is one of those things you could get lost going down all the rabbit holes. But if you're a classroom teacher, you want to focus on the lessons and activities, and it has a drop-down menu, and you'll see it split into grade levels, and each one has different things. And you will find Feathered Friends in the free download section. So Feathered Friends is under grades 3 through 5, but you can easily adapt it lower grades and upper grades. I've done both, and you can definitely adapt it. Go to where it says free downloads, and there's a lot of other downloads in here that you can check out, but here's Feathered Friends, and you'll download it here, and it'll automatically show up right away. Now, once under here, where you download it, right under here is resources go with each month. So don't forget to go look at that, because there's stuff that will help you teach that monthly lesson. So for example, in September, what makes a bird a bird? You'll find the resources you need. So let me show you September. So September, the bird of the month is American crow. And if you click on the bird, when you open it up, your download, it takes you to a really cool place from Cornell, all about birds, and you can learn more about the American crow. There's sounds, there's maps where they live. Something you can share with your students that they'll really enjoy seeing. It even has little videos of them. Under that, so one of the lessons for September is a true false game for birds, which actually I just played with some students today. And it has the answers and an explanation. And a really fun way to play this game is you can have the children can start with sitting. You say fly up if it's true and perch on the ground if it's false. And they like doing that. It also includes any resources you need, like there's a PDF of the bird search, which would be something that's sent home to do. You could do it at your school. I do need you to know that in this download, it's going to mention that there's a free window feeder offer. And I checked with the folks at Cornell, and unfortunately, currently it's not available. Hopefully they'll make it available again. And really, it would only apply to the month about feeding birds. But as an alternative, if you can't get your own feeder or you can't have feeders at your school, there's a really nice feeder watch camera that is through Cornell. And you can put that on and your students can watch the birds feeding up there. And it's really kind of fun if you're in a warm place like Florida and you're seeing the snow when that time comes. So if you have questions, put them in the chat. And while Susan's checking, we'll go ahead. The next webinar will be October the 9th, and I'll go over Audubon Adventures, which is through National Audubon Society. And for those that are local, you can find out how you can get a free classroom set of really high quality, up-to-date science magazines through National Audubon. Here is my email. Here is our website. And be sure you check out our resources. Again, we've recorded this program, and it'll be on our YouTube channel shortly. And you can share with others at your school. Whether you're watching this live or recorded, you can email me and request a certificate of participation by having watched this program. So thank you again for joining. And yeah, so we can stop the recording now. Thank you, Susan.